Hi viewers, welcome to SEKHAR'S Bio Factory for NEET. If you like this video, subscribe my channel and click on bell icon to get notification. In this video, I am going to explain one of the topic in photosynthesis in higher plants. It is factors affecting photosynthesis. The rate of photosynthesis, it is very important in case of crop plants because the photosynthesis rate, it determines the yield of plant including crop plants. And photosynthesis, it is under the influence of several factors like both internal factors related to plants and external factors related to atmosphere. The plant factors, it includes like the number, size, age and orientation of leaf along with mesophyll cells and chloroplast, the internal CO2 concentration and amount of chlorophyll pigments. These are considered as internal factors or plant factors. And the plant or internal factors, these are completely depends on genetic predisposition expressed by different genes or the growth of the plant. The external factors, it includes availability of sunlight, temperature, carbon dioxide concentration along with water. So all these factors will simultaneously affect the rate of photosynthesis. And several factors, they interact with each other and simultaneously affect the process of photosynthesis or carbon dioxide fixation. In this, usually one of the factor is the major cause or it is the one of the limiting factor that can limits the rate of photosynthesis. In 1905, one of the scientists, Blackman, he given one important principle. It is called law of limiting factor. According to this, when several factors, either external or internal factors, if it affect any biochemical process, then this law come in effect. And according to Blackman, the limiting factor is if a chemical process is affected by more than one factor, in this, then its rate will be determined by the factor which is nearest to minimal value. At the same time, it is the factor which can directly affects the process, its quantity, and it will be changed. It is the law of limiting factor given by Blackman. For example, to prove this Blackman limiting factor, that despite the presence of carbon dioxide and optimal light, it is taken as a condition whenever the plant it may not photosynthesize if the temperature is very low. At this time, this leaf, if the given with the optimal temperature, so gradually again the leaf will start photosynthesis. In this case, the temperature it can affects the rate of photosynthesis. Along with one more example, if light intensity it is supplied to a leaf is just sufficient to utilize 5 grams of carbon dioxide per 1 hour in photosynthesis. At this time, as the CO2 supply it is increased, at this time the rate also increases till 5 grams of carbon dioxide whenever it enters into leaf for photosynthesis per 1 hour. But after that, if any increase in supply of carbon dioxide but there is no increase in photosynthesis rate and not have an effect upon the rate of photosynthesis because light has now become limiting factor. At the same time, further if increase in rate of photosynthesis just it occur only when the increasing the light intensity around the leaf. So in this case, the carbon dioxide, it become limiting factor along with light intensity according to law of limiting factor. And along with this, some of the external factors, it affect the rate of photosynthesis more. In this, the environment factors which are present outside of the plant body are called external factors, and these external factors includes light, carbon dioxide concentration, temperature, along with water. In this, the first external factor is light. So the light is an essential important factor for photosynthesis because light it provide energy for the conversion of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates, and it is needed to distinguish between light quality, light intensity, and the duration of exposure to light. So these are the important components in light for photosynthesis. The first one is a light quality. So the light having a nanometers in between 400 to 700 nanometer wavelength, it is constitute photosynthetically active radiation, because in TW Engelmann experiment also we know that the photosynthesis rate occur more in blue and red color light, so that 400 to 700 nanometer light, it is actually visible light, and this visible light only participate in photosynthesis is called photosynthetically active radiation or PAR. And maximum photosynthesis take place in red and blue color light is called visible spectrum, and minimum photosynthesis take place in green light, because the leaf it have capacity, it can reflect green color again into atmosphere, so that in the presence of green light there is a less amount of photosynthesis. The second component is light intensity. So light intensity it play an important role to increase or decrease the rate of photosynthesis. In this, at a very low light intensity, so gradually when you construct a graph in between light intensity on x-axis and rate of photosynthesis on y-axis, at low light intensity, whenever the light intensity increases gradually, at this time we can observe a linear relationship in between incident light and carbon dioxide fixation. So gradually rate of photosynthesis increases, that is denoted with A in this graph. At the same time, when the light intensity become high, so at one point it is called B. So even though light intensity increases but the rate of photosynthesis not increases, it move constantly, it is denoted with C. And B is a point, it is the maximum light intensity useful for photosynthesis, and C indicates even though light intensity increases, there is no further increase in photosynthesis rate. Along with this, at this time the light become limiting factor, and in this graph the E it represents the maximum photosynthesis rate at a high light intensity. So the light saturation generally it occur at 10% of total sunlight available to plant, and light is a rarely limiting factor in nature except some of the plants which are growing in shady environment or in dense forest, because the light is not a main factor in shady plants and in case of dense forest. So increasing in incident light beyond a point, it causes breakdown of chlorophyll molecule and a decrease in photosynthesis rate, because whenever the light energy is taken by chlorophyll pigments, after receiving more light intensity or more light, even chlorophyll molecule also it will be breakdown. It is the process called photooxidation, and whenever photooxidation take place, due to decreasing the amount of chlorophyll pigment, the rate of photosynthesis also decreases, and it is the effect of light intensity in photosynthesis. And the third component is the duration of exposure to light. In this, the light duration actually it does not affecting factor for rate of photosynthesis, but the sunlight it can affect the overall process of photosynthesis. It is a component and external factor light related to rate of photosynthesis. And the second important external factor is carbon dioxide concentration. Because in photosynthesis, carbon dioxide it play an important role, and this carbon dioxide it will be converted into carbohydrates. And carbon dioxide is a major limiting factor for photosynthesis, because in atmosphere the concentration of carbon dioxide is very low, that is nearly in between 0.03 to 0.04% only. Whenever the carbon dioxide concentration increases slightly up to 0.05%, it can cause an increase in carbon dioxide fixation rate. But beyond this, if the concentration of carbon dioxide increases, and it become damaging overall long period of photosynthesis. And both C3 and C4 plants they have response to carbon dioxide concentration differently. At a low light condition, neither group respond to high carbon dioxide concentration, but at a high light intensity, both C3 and C4 plants shows an increase in rate of photosynthesis. C4 plants shows saturation about 360 microliters, but while C3 plants respond to increased carbon dioxide concentration and saturation, it is seen only beyond 450 microliters. The current availability of carbon dioxide level, it is the limiting factor in case of C3 plants, so that C3 plants respond to high CO2 concentration by showing increasing the rate of photosynthesis that can lead to producing high productivity. So that some of the green crop plants such as tomato, bell pepper, they are allowed to grow in carbon dioxide enriched environment or atmosphere that can give high yield in crop field. The third factor is temperature. The C4 plants respond to high temperature and show higher rate of photosynthesis, but C3 plants have a much lower temperature optimum. And the optimum temperature for both C3 and C4 plants is the C3 plants perform photosynthesis actively in between 20 to 25 degrees centigrade, and C4 plants perform photosynthesis actively in between 30 to 45 degrees centigrade. In photosynthesis, the dark reactions, these are carried out by various enzymes, and these enzymes are more sensitive to temperature, and the entire dark reaction is under control of temperature. The light reactions are also temperature sensitive, so that these reactions are also affected to a much lesser extent. The temperature optimum for photosynthesis of different plants also it depends on its habitat, and also they are adapted to this temperature condition. The tropical plants have a higher temperature optimum than the plants adapted to temperate climates. It is the role of temperature in photosynthesis. And fourth factor is water. So water is one of the important reactant in light reaction, because in photosynthesis, water it provide hydrogen to carbon dioxide and helps to release oxygen into atmosphere. The effect of water as a factor is more through its effect on the plant rather than directly on photosynthesis, because the water stress it causes closing of stomata. Whenever the stomata are closed, that can reduce the CO2 availability in plant. Beside this, water stress also makes the leaf wilt, so that the reducing the surface area of the leaf and their metabolical activity also it will slow down, that can decrease rate of photosynthesis. Along with this, some of the internal factors also affects photosynthesis. In this, the plant internal factors it includes number, size, age and orientation of leaves, along with mesophyll cells, chloroplast and internal carbon dioxide concentration and amount of chlorophyll pigments present in chloroplast. All these are considered as internal factors. The chlorophylls is the most important because the light energy it is trapped by chlorophyll pigment only, so that it is the main internal factor, and there is no photosynthesis in the absence of chlorophyll pigment in plants. And along with this, whenever after completion of photosynthesis, the end product is sugars or carbohydrates. Whenever the accumulation of photosynthetic end product of photosynthesis in mesophyll cells, that also can decrease the rate of photosynthesis, because the concentration of these product in the cell at increases rate of respiration. In this way, both external and internal factors have ability to regulate and influence the rate of photosynthesis in plants. Thanks for watching.